All right, everybody. It is another great day here in the stellar universe. And I'm really super excited about this podcast. We're going to be sitting down with Andre Zyl, and he's with Clic.World, whose goal is taking digital financial innovation beyond payments and remittances to create a global end-to-end community-centric financial-based ecosystem where money moves like email, is borderless and zero cost, totally secure. Man, if you're not excited to hear about Clic.World, then I don't know what more of an intro I can do for you. But before we hop on with Andre, let me do a quick PSA and talk about Public Node. Public Node is a nonprofit organization led by stellar community members working together to support the open and inclusive Stellar network. When we talk about Public Node in particular, they're a very important organization because they ensure that they're open, accessible nodes on the network. Because as Stellar grows, it's going to be like the internet. It's going to be a public access right to have for this internet of value. So that's Public Node. Go to the website, publicnode.org, and definitely become a member. So, Andre, how are you doing today, my friend?
Sam, fantastic. It's really great to be with you, man. It's great. It's really great. Yeah, greetings here from Kampala on the equator.
Kampala. Wow, on the equator. So where exactly is Kampala?
Kampala of Uganda, and Uganda is the source of the Nile. And
okay.
Yeah, so this is where the origin of the Nile. And although there's a big dam now, the Nile's origin is actually 7 fountains.
Wow.
That actually comes out of the ground. And even today on the dam, you can actually go there where these 7 fountains, you can actually see those 7 fountains actually causing a reflection in the water. So yeah, it's on the equator. And, we are sitting on Lake Victoria.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, Lake Victoria is the second largest lake in the world, right?
It's pretty big, yeah.
That's awesome. Now, this is Stellar Global. And so, I always like to learn a lot about the different communities that we speak to. And I was looking that in Uganda, that they're actually the largest export of coffee. I'm actually drinking some coffee right now. Are you a coffee guy yourself?
I am mainlining. You can't be in the IT space or doing that without coffee. I believe that coffee is, and I've been in this for many years, and mainlining on coffee is how we do things, So that's partly why I'm in Uganda.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What's a coffee brand that you would recommend I try?
I will give you in a second a brand, but there's actually Uganda. Although we have the best, and there's no dispute about it, we make some of the best coffee in the world. In fact, not too far from where I am are the major depot where Starbucks, both Starbucks and Nescafe, have got massive depots where their coffee come right from Uganda. However, coffee is not consumed that much in Uganda, and we don't have that much roasteries. It's slowly busy picking up, but actually production is made in Uganda, but the roasting is mostly done outside and imported. And it's slowly changing now. So there's a brand. Sam, I'll tell you what. I'm going to send you some coffee.
That'll be great.
There's a brand called Big Gorilla.
Big Gorilla. All right.
Big Gorilla and it's actually a friend of mine. He's a master roaster, and he started this a few years ago. He made a dark roast. Sam, that thing is not for amateurs.
That's what I want to hear.
That is a proper dark roast. That's my favorite. I would say that's what's powering Clic. Is Gorilla big Gorilla dark roast.
Man, that's going to be a commercial one day. So I'm sure your friend's going to appreciate that one.
Yes.
No, that's really cool to hear, man. So we've got listeners, as I just mentioned, all over the globe right now. I'm really happy to see how this network has expanded.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to start by seeing if you could just help paint a picture for them, the financial infrastructure of Uganda that inspired you to create Clic.World?
That's a very fundamental question. And this is going to take, we're going to go back a decade now. The journey, which has culminated in Clic.World, is about 10 years old now. It goes back to 2008, 2009, 2010, where I was involved in economic development activities in the DRC, the Congo.
Okay.
I was there in the conflict area. As part of doing economic development there, I got involved in the conflict mineral issue, and we were working to create traceability in that area, but also to see how do we take that conflict and the conflict minerals and actually move it into the local communities and actually use it to stimulate economic activity. So that was what I was involved in those projects. And it was absolutely mind-blowing to see in the middle of the equatorial jungle, 100, 500,000, $1 million being carried around in plastic bags doing trade. And that was where I basically realized that you cannot do economic development without some sort of an infrastructure. Now that's one part of the story. The other interesting thing which I started discovering there, and I need to give some context. During the same time, I was also involved in Eastern Europe, in Bulgaria, actually. So I was commuting between Bulgaria and the Congo at the time. And from the timeline, you would realize this is after the banking crash. So in Bulgaria, I saw Greece going up in flames. I saw the entire banking system collapsing. In the Congo, I saw a country which is in war, but I see money moving. And in the Bulgaria, which is European Union, which is supposed to be everything organized, I saw chaos. And it absolutely fascinated me. So I started looking at the banking infrastructure. And that was where I had literally, if I say I had a light bulb moment, I realized that in the Congo, money moves based on trust, but based on groups.
Okay.
You have groups of people who trust each other, working in a trust relationship that manage their finances. And so in other words, you have got these small, what I would call little micro informal banks. And that, if you now today, you say Uganda, if you go to Ghana, if you go to South Africa, if you go to Malawi, you'll find the same principle is in Africa, people work in trust relationships in small groups when it comes to money. So my light bulb moment was the model in Africa is different from the model in the rest of the world. The Western model of a monolithic traditional bank are totally the opposite of how it works in Africa. So that was literally a light bulb moment, and that is where the concept of social banking was born.
Wow. Whenever I hear about Clic.World, I always hear the term social banking. And so this is great. I mean, I'm learning a lot from this conversation here, man. So yeah, continue. So what is social banking? Yeah, go ahead.
So let me bring you to a practical situation. In Uganda, we've got about 40 million people.
Okay.
We have got about 27 commercial banks. Now, between those 27 commercial banks in total, they have got less than or maybe 3 million unique account holders. Yet, in Uganda, you have got registered what we call SACCOs, which is an acronym for Savings and Credit Cooperative. So in other words, it's a cooperative where people belong as members and they save and loan to each other. Those little cooperatives that are registered and legal have got more than 15 million members. So you have got 5 times more people in the formal environment than in traditional banking. This also leads to another very contentious issue, and this is financial inclusion or bank the unbanked. Where with all respect, everybody that has got half a chance is running to Africa to try and fix that problem. We want to get the unbanked banked. And the reality is, people in Africa are not banked because of technology. They are unbanked out of choice. There's actually only 2 reasons. They're either unbanked out of choice, or they are in the bottom end of the banking pyramid, and the banking services are too expensive for them. Technology is not the issue. It's the model that are wrong. People don't trust the traditional monolithic banking system. So we came up with the social banking model. So if I use the term a social financial ecosystem, you would understand that. Okay?
Yes.
Social
Yes.
financial ecosystem. So in other words, small little micro banks that are working in an ecosystem where the each group, and these groups can vary sometimes from 500 to 1,000 people to 50,000 to 100,000 people. In Kenya, we're currently engaging some of these SACCOs that's got 100, 200,000 members. So these are actually informal banks. They may even qualify to become banks, but they don't want to become banks. So it's a membership only. That was a key thing for me when I realized that it's the model that's wrong. It's not the technology. We have got a wrong model, you know?
Okay.
So in Uganda, if you look at one of the biggest banks, the employees of that bank actually have formed their own SACCO or own group, and they're saving their money outside of the bank.
Wow.
Okay, so that's social banking.
So let me ask you a question here, because the first thing that pops in my mind is, if I have my bank, and forgive me for my Western viewpoint, right? If I have my money in a bank, then it's secured by a non-personal body, right? And so my money's there. If I ever need to get my money, it's there. But I'm thinking in my head, okay, from a social standpoint, now I have to go to Richard to get my money. Like, where's my money actually being held? Is it like in his house, or am I completely missing it?
Well, first of all, I like the faith that you have got in the Western banking system.
Sure.
And I think 2008 has proved that's probably not that safe.
Sure. But what I'm saying is, I guess, is up until now, we're talking about how the silos have worked, right? Up until now in Uganda and Africa. I guess my question more so is just, so when you're saying that they're saving that money outside of the bank, before Clic.World came into play, where was that money being held? Was it physically being held somewhere?
Physically.
Is the question out there.
Absolutely. In fact, normally these SACCOs start as what we call a village loan and a VSLA, a village loan and savings association. And that is normally 20 people, and they have got a box with 3 locks and 3 keys.
Okay.
And every Saturday they come together, they put their money into the box, and 3 people have got 3 keys. And if somebody wants a loan, then they give it out of the box, and they hold each other accountable. It is
Okay.
It is true social cohesion. It is true social banking. They work on trust relationships, and they keep physical cash. Now, you obviously know that's not sustainable. So that was, so when I got that revelation in 2010, and we then modeled this social banking, for me, it was a no-brainer. If each of those little banks can become a little micro bank, and you put them onto a proper digital platform, this could become a very powerful environment.
I agree.
Because you talk about an ecosystem, but also there's another angle to this. Where are we going? We're going towards collaborative commerce, shared economy. My next question was, is social banking not the banking's version of going from a hotel to an Airbnb?
Nice. Okay. By the way, they had a great IPO recently.
I know. So basically, that was what I realized is we need to keep the model, and not trying to take the people out of their model and put them into a existing banking environment. We need to keep the model. We just need to find new technology.
Andre, you just put a bomb on my head, man. What you just said is huge. You said it's social banking, what Airbnb did to the hotel. That is huge, what you just said. It just hit me. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here and I'm like, wait a minute. What did he just say? I'm sorry. Continue, man. That's huge. That's a really...
You're right. When I looked at this, so now this is 2010.
Okay.
When this revelation came. And then I realized, but what tech? I'm an old school tech. I started playing with, the first PCs in the 80s. So I've been in this industry for many years. So my question was, how do we build such a thing which is simple, robust, and cheap? Because this thing has got to operate in very difficult environments. And lo and behold, you know what happened in 2010. Some crazy guy
Yes.
published a white paper called Bitcoin.
Right. Shook the world.
So I actually saw that white paper in 2010 looking for a solution. And you talk about, hitting with a bomb. I can't tell you what happened when I read through that white paper and I went like, but this is the solution.
Wow.
The blockchain is the solution for social banking.
Right.
So I immediately bought 3 Bitcoins
Smart man.
at the phenomenal amount of $6.20.
Ooh, man.
And no, don't ask the next question, because now I didn't buy any more. Okay, because remember, I was not looking for a token. I was looking for a banking solution. Okay, so I bought the Bitcoin so that we can start doing real-time transactions. And you can understand my absolute disillusionment when I realized that I cannot do a real-time transaction on the Bitcoin.
Right. Absolutely.
And secondly, when I realized that mining is an environmental disaster because of the electricity that it consumes, and we don't have electricity in Africa.
Wow, that's a great point. And on that, I hope that this conversation spreads, because what I've been seeing lately are people that don't understand Africa, don't understand the people, don't understand what you're sharing here of how the infrastructure, how they are as a culture, trying to bring in Bitcoin as a solution. And so, these things that you're saying is, I hope people listen to this. So yeah, please continue.
Yes, so you can imagine I went from the absolute tops of euphoria to the valleys of despair, because I saw the blockchain. I immediately understood the value and that this is the solution, yet I couldn't execute it, And the environmental, because I'm really, when you see the environmental destruction in Africa, then you've got to be very conscious of it, So I'm very, very conscious. Even today, I believe mining is a problem, the crypto mining. So I literally left my 3 Bitcoins and started looking for a solution elsewhere. And I didn't find it until somebody told me about Ripple.
Okay.
And I immediately saw, okay, first thing is pre-mined. I went, hallelujah. Secondly thing,
right.
Algorithms. So I immediately contacted the guys at Ripple, and I think that was when the VCs were already in there. And, with all love and respect for our distant cousins at Ripple, they were not that interested talking to some guy sitting in Kampala. I think the guy was very polite. He said, can you pay $100,000 up front, then we can set up a partnership. Wow. And I went like, okay, that was that one out the window. So, but I then realized that there's something out there, a second generation. So I very keenly followed the Ripple story, and also then the Jet McCaleb saga when they parted ways and Stella was born. So immediately I saw, first of all, I saw that the solution is there, the second generation, I've now got the potential to do pre-mined, which means it is what I call green. And I mean, I call Stellar and Ripple green crypto. So when Stellar was, I was one of the first guys that started contacting them, and I was really privileged to get the opportunity to talk to Jed in those early days. And I had a Skype call with him, and it was really a game changer for me, and I've got so much respect for that guy. His vision for Africa, his vision of actually creating a real payment solution, and people that, many people talk to me about, why the XLM is not being pushed, and that. I remember that conversation with Jed. Jed was not trying to push a token. Jed was trying to solve a problem.
Say that one more time.
Let me repeat that.
That is, once again, repeat that again, because that's important.
Important. And I'm not saying Jed, I mean Jed and his team, Bartek, and there's a lot of people in the early days that really helped us. Those guys
shout out to
were
them.
building a solution. The token was a by the by. They didn't build
Right.
something to hype a token. They were trying to create a real solution. And with my background, which you now know, it was just, to me, that was just absolutely the beginning. So I think it was 2014, we then signed up with them. And in those early days, I mean, there was very little tools and we had to build everything. But this is now 5-6 years later, there is no other solution.
Well, that says a lot because, I think even just the story of Jed, that's the person that I saw and what attracted me. I had a great opportunity when I was first looking at all these different, there's a lot of different blockchains doing different things out there. There's, like I said, there's things in, maybe what Ethereum's doing, and there's the whole long VeChain, all these other people. But the reason why I'm passionate about Stellar is because of that mission and going out to New York, going out to these conferences and getting to talk to all these different executives. Like you said, it's a whole team of them.
Exactly, yeah.
They're all very focused on the mission.
Exactly.
And it's about actually creating something that's going to change the world. And that's why I do these podcasts. That's why I tweet. That's why I'm so involved with the community, because I believe in my soul that it's important. And when I got a chance to talk to you about a week ago, I was excited because I believe that you fit that mold, that you are seriously out there to create a solution. So thank you for sharing all that, just honestly and bluntly, about your own personal experiences, because I know that if you experience anything differently, you are not shy to share that. So
of course,
you talked about that there was, the beginning, there wasn't, you were there in the very beginning when there was very little tools. Now we just had the newest features of Protocol 15, claimable balances and sponsor reserves. Is Clic.World utilizing any of those tools right now?
It's live. It's live. Our entire system works on that. We were, at the moment that came out, it's probably, if I tell you, that was probably one of the biggest lifesavers that they have. It's awesome, man. And I'll tell you why.
I've been hearing that. Yeah. Why? Why is that?
Your problem is you need to give a wallet. So let's start with a simple use case. We are busy, let's say, in a refugee camp, and you want to create a wallet for a refugee that has just arrived in the country. Okay. Now we have got a solution for that, which actually allows you to create a wallet and then issue a QR card. So you can actually have a Stellar transaction done by somebody without a phone. Okay. But the question is, now you need to fund that, okay? And you need to control that, and somebody's going to run out of, maybe they need another trust line or something. Plus, also, very practically, you put your wallet out there, and we actually got raided. Every now and again, we get raided by people who just create wallets, literally just to milk the 1 or 2 XLM out of there. So now you can create a wallet with a zero balance, and you control the float, because it's about, I mean, you can think of it, if I want to put 100,000 people on, I need that float. I need XLM float before I can even start. So it's a scalability problem that we've just solved, okay? It's a major scalability problem. Because remember,
that's huge.
Most people, average users, does not know about XLM or Stellar or has got the capacity or the capability to now put trust lines in and all those kind of stuff. So you've got to manage that all seamlessly in the background. And this protocol are perfect, man. It's in. It's ready. If you go on our wallet now, it's done. It's in. So
that's incredible.
So it's a game changer in terms of how we can scale.
Okay.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guys are. Jet and the team are doing phenomenal stuff. And that's why I just say there is no other solution.
Right. Let's dive a little bit more into Clic.World, because, up until now, I feel the listeners have a really firm understanding of not just Uganda, but Africa and what inspired it, what's the need. And we talked about, what technology you're utilizing to do it. But let's talk about exactly what you guys have, because, I got some information from you that was really exciting to read, really promising. So Clic.World, it says here, is creating a global end-to-end community-centric financial-based ecosystem. Can you walk us through the Clic.World ecosystem?
Okay, so first of all, the social banking ecosystem, what we had to do is we had to build a core banking system. But we had to build it as a micro core banking system so that, if I got 500 people, that somebody with some basic accounting knowledge and a tablet should be able to run that bank. That was where we started. We built literally from a blank sheet of paper, working with the community, working with stakeholders that understood how these groups work. We actually built a proper micro banking system where each of these groups can create their own banking products. They can create their savings products, their loan products. They can manage their members. They can manage the shares. They can everything that a normal bank can do, with savings accounts, wallets, everything. And then, of course, the wallet is a Stellar wallet. So all transactions, underpinning all of this are Stellar based. But we had to first of all is a micro banking system. So each of these groups can now create a little micro bank and manage it all on their own. Now, because it's on the same platform, and these groups have to work, you obviously, from a regulatory point of view, have to work with a commercial bank. So the model for this is very simple. You work with a commercial bank. We've got our banking partner here in Uganda, and their core banking system are integrated through an API with our micro core banking platform or ecosystem. So you maintain one escrow account on the core banking system. Okay. Then a shilling goes into that escrow account through the API, triggers the issuing of a Uganda shilling token. So the concept of e-value, which is everybody knows in Africa called mobile money, e-value. So we call it T-value. So we are talking about tokenized e-value. So what happens is shilling hits the escrow account, a token gets issued, and that issuing process, again, Stellar's multi-sig, you can now put various signatories to control that, and the regulator loves that, and the money gets issued direct into a wallet. Now, what I've just described to you are removing the single biggest risk currently in mobile money in Africa. Mobile money currently in Africa is operated using e-value, which means it's a messaging, and you have somewhere in the back end, you've got a database where somebody can actually go in and fiddle the numbers.
Okay.
And it happens regularly. It's just happened twice this year already in Uganda alone. So we are sort of tongue-in-cheek calling this mobile money 2.0 that we are creating. By putting Stellar in and tokenizing that e-value, you remove all the risk. So that's the core of what we do.
Nice.
Now, the next thing is, to go cashless, you have to go further. You have to go to the merchant. You have to go where people are spending money. Because this is not just about sending money from me to you. I have to now go to where people are buying stuff. Now, the biggest challenge that we have for digital or going cashless is the cost of transactions. Cost of transactions is high in the current infrastructure. So we then developed a merchant a point of sale, which is dynamically QR. It's a dynamic QR. So and it can be offline both sides. So in other words, either I can come into the shop with a QR code tattooed on my forehead or on my card or wherever I want to have the QR. It's just a piece of plastic with a QR on, or on my key ring or something. And the merchant can scan that, and we can do a transaction. Or the merchant generates a dynamic QR. I use my phone and I scan that QR, and the transaction gets done. Or the merchant can now take the QR, share it over WhatsApp or any media to my cousin sitting in Frankfurt or in the US, and seconds later they press the link, type in their PIN, and I receive the money in Uganda in seconds. So basically what we call chat commerce.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. Because
it's a big thing.
Yeah, I know of people here in the States that are tied to Uganda, right? They came up here for medical school. They have a little practice, and they're supporting family.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is that their mom, their cousins could go out there and right there they can help pay for things in real time. That's going to help many lives. That's going to help many lives.
Exactly. So to do that, we then had to realize that we need to build a switch. And the reason, there was a few reasons why we built a switch and not use the SDEX direct, and that's probably a discussion for another day. And there are reasons why sometimes you have to use a switch and when you have to use the SDEX. So we actually built a switch that could then switch between fiat and crypto, or fiat and Stellar and Stellar and Stellar. So we built a full where we could actually then switch the fiat as in on our banking system with a tokenization, with a crypto token.
Okay.
And that was actually, again, sometimes it's just coincidence and then something interesting happens. So I happen to have a friend of mine that were building a ATM for mobile money. Okay.
Okay.
So this is that other little story. So he was building literally just a bad welding job and a cash recycler that he got from Russia. And he built a ATM for, I think, $3,000. I took a look at this thing and said, but what if we put the switch and connect the switch to this thing? Could we actually now switch from a phone and from cash over this? And man, I happened to mention, I think I was talking to I can't remember what. I spoke to one of the guys at Stellar, and I just mentioned this. And here's an interesting story. And they said, oh, this is fine. This was end of 2017.
Okay.
2 weeks later, I got a telephone call. It says, can you guys come to the Singapore FinTech Festival and show this ATM where you can withdraw cash?
And who was this call from? This was from Stellar?
I can't remember who it was. It was Boris or Tunda. I can't remember who it was.
Okay.
And I went like, okay, that was just a concept. We haven't actually done it. Okay. I know it can be done. Okay. I said, when is this? He said, it's next week. Okay. Cut a long story short, Emma, my CTO, myself, and the team. So we had lots of coffee. And we then put the switch into the ATM. And lo and behold, we could take Stellar and withdraw cash. Then we sort of said, but wait a minute, can I do it between ATMs? We then realized, if I put Uganda shillings into one ATM, can I then withdraw another currency in another ATM using the same switch? We actually managed to find another recycler, tested it, and it worked. So now it's becoming Friday, and we have to fly to Singapore. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have Singapore dollars?
Mm-hmm.
So we contacted the guys in Russia, and I think Saturday afternoon they sent us the config file to config this thing to Singapore dollars. But where would I find a Singapore dollar in Kampala?
Right.
So we configured this thing, put a home-made fabricated ATM in our hand luggage in pieces, and off we went to the Singapore FinTech Festival. And we are unpacking this thing there at IBM stand. Me full well knowing I've never tested this.
Oh, man.
Especially the Singapore side, Singapore dollars.
Right.
But, lo and behold, it did work. Only then did we discovered that this was the first Stellar ATM done in the world. So there's a little story.
That's amazing.
A story behind that,
I like
that little journey. So
everybody gets a little gem when they listen into the podcast. So that's nice.
There's a few interesting photos of that around. So the switch done, we then realized that, okay, so now I can do peer-to-peer transactions. I can do transactions over WhatsApp. I can do it offline with a card. Then a lot of people here don't have smartphones, they don't have internet. So the next thing is, can we do it over a feature phone? In other words, an old Nokia without internet. So that's then the next thing we did. So we did a pilot last year between Uganda and Rwanda, where we sent a real-time 1 shilling backwards and forwards at zero cost between two old Nokia phones without internet. We then realized that we got to look at the economy and what is driving the economy: agriculture and SME businesses. Africa is about small and medium enterprises. And we realized that there's a need for basic inventory management, basic stock control, order entry, and then, of course, online shopping. So we then, that's what we built last year and this year mainly, is we built the business hub. So the business hub allows you to manage the inventory, and this business hub is a B2B and a B2C in one. So in other words, the retailer can order from the distributor can order from the wholesaler, and they can have their own online presence, and they also can have their cash registered in the shop where they can, and all working off the same inventory. So that we've done. And then the farm, the agricultural sector, which is our main focus, we then developed a farm management platform to manage the whole farming ecosystem. That's currently actually went live this week after the pilots went live in Tanzania in the agricultural sector. We're busy with that now. So So that's sort of the basics. If I remember, I mean, we did other stuff. There's Click Chat and there's a few other stuff that we did. But that's sort of the ecosystem, more or less.
Right, right. Beautiful ecosystem you guys are creating. I mean, like you said, earlier, when you're really focused on solutions, there's a lot of work, and you guys have clearly been, nose down working for a little over 10 years now, looking for solutions. So,
Click is basically a 5 years, almost 6 years of work. Yeah,
right.
that's finally coming to the market now.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow.
It's a big job. It's to create a wallet and do transfers is the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
And there's another reason, and that is the business case.
Mm.
Because I realized that sending money like email at zero cost is a novel idea until you have to pay your staff. So the question is, so where are you going to make money? And that's what I realized. You got to build an ecosystem where you can have other revenue streams
Yes.
other than payments. And a big part of the market and fintech market, I still believe, are too much focused on remittances and payments. And that's going to go down to zero.
Right. I've heard that from a couple of people that are, like yourself, that are really building on it, and they say the same exact thing. It's great what you're doing.
Yeah, so we've got what we're launching now in Uganda is a product called Clic.Go.
Mm-hmm.
So Clic.Go is basically one brand. It's a wallet. In the wallet, you can do your shopping. So it's connected to the online shopping. It's connected to all the bill payers, so you can pay your electricity and pay your tax and do all your payments. You can transfer money from your wallet to the banks. You can move money in and out from all the mobile monies into your wallet. Blah blah blah, all those kind of things. And this is sitting on the switch, so you can then also move money to Kenya, and you can move money to Tanzania, etc., etc. So basically, this is country agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, by just turning a setting in your app, so if you fly from Uganda to Kenya, you can arrive at the airport, change your settings, and immediately your app is connected to the services in Kenya, which we're busy integrating now. The same that we've done here in Kenya as well. But that's sort of the essence of the ecosystem.
It's really impressive what you guys have done. I know that we've been chatting for a little while here, and before we separate off the call, I wanted to just hear from you. We're coming towards the end of a really interesting year, 2020. What are your plans going into 2021?
2021 is going to be the year where everything is going to happen. So we have spent probably the last 2.5 years just doing pilots, testing things, making sure that it's robust. Also, we've been working with a regulator because it's not just tech. People think you just come and arrive in Africa and you bring the tech and it works. No, it's not that simple. The regulatory environment is very difficult here. In fact, I was the last 3 days now, I was with a workshop with the central bank. And the great news is the central bank has finally agreed on a set of regulations that will allow us to get a license to become an electronic money issuer. So we will, early next year, I think by February, be able to apply for a license to issue a stellar Uganda shilling token officially.
Wow.
Plus, they have got regulations to allow us to do sandbox. So we can come and experiment with them. It will give them the chance to learn more. It will give us the chance to experiment in a live but controlled environment. So I'm very excited. That's going to be a game changer.
That is
because
going to be
it'll allow
a game
us to
changer.
move forward.
Yes.
We're going to expand a lot. We've got banking, a very, very interesting banking relationship in Kenya that we've signed up. We're busy with South Sudan and Sudan, Somalia, Nigeria, and Tanzania. Tanzania, we've got a big partnership there where we in the agricultural sector. And then, of course, Uganda, and then we are also in talks with a banking partner in the DRC Congo. So 2021 is where we're going to release the handbrake.
Nice.
We're going to release the handbrake and see some of these things happening. So cross-border trade. Uganda is at the crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
The trade from Sudan to South Sudan goes through Kampala. The trade from the DRC Congo, east of the DRC Congo, goes through Kampala to Kenya and to Tanzania, to the coast. So we are literally at the economic crossroads. And, moving money like email and using the SDEX to do on the fly cross-border remittances is what you're going to see next year.
Incredible, incredible. Andre, you know what? You're definitely somebody that everybody in the Stellar community needs to pay attention to. I'm really excited to see Clic.World, really do everything that it's been planned out to do, because I believe you guys are going to help millions of people live better lives and reach levels that were not possible prior to this incredible, carefully thought out infrastructure that you're designing in Uganda and the rest of Africa. So please promise that you'll keep us updated, that you'll come back next year and share the progress of everything. For now, man, thank you so much for taking your time to do this podcast, I should say, with me. I enjoy talking with you. I look forward to, staying in good contact with you, man. Every time I talk to you, I learn something. So
fantastic. And so thanks a lot. I also want to really thank you for really bringing the community up and giving us the opportunity to actually share this with the community. And the tasks that you're doing are phenomenal. And I want to say thank you for that. It's really, really great to see how you connect and bring all the stories together, because I think that is how the community is going to flourish.
Thank you.
And we're gonna do some good stuff. 2021 is really gonna be a game changer here. When we have our conversation this time next year, let's have another one this time next year and have a 2021 conversation.
No, we will, and hopefully we're able to travel. I look forward to flying out and meeting you in person and having some of that great coffee you talked about, man. So,
deal.
All right, everybody, you heard
deal.
it right here.
Okay.
We're going out to Uganda. Thank you so much. That's it for this week, guys. Take care. Bye.